So, what do you guys want to talk about?
You can call this the New World Order of Wrestling, brother. Put out the caution tape. Put out the orange cones. Acknowledge me.
It's Monday, and you know what that means. I am Boris Roberto Aguilar, and you are listening to the newest wrestling radio show here in Canada, A+ Wrestling. A+ Wrestling would not be possible without amazing tag team partners like T.O. Boat Tours. T.O. Boat Tours, Ontario's premier boat tour experience, where adventure meets relaxation on the stunning waters of Canada's most beautiful lakes and rivers in Ontario. That's T.O. Boat Tours for all booking and additional information. This show is part of the A+ Productions and A+ Wrestling Podcast Network, and now part of the KPHR family. That's Cat Power Hit Radio. We're more than just a weekly radio show, and we actually have a slew of shows for you each and every single week over on the A+ Productions Podcast Network, where we talk sports, entertainment, and then we bring it all together to talk some sports entertainment, also known as wrestling. You can find us on any podcasting platform as A+ Productions, but if you really just want to listen to our wrestling shows, you can do so by going to any podcasting platform and searching for A+ Wrestling. We can also be found online at aplusproductions.com and on all of the social medias as at A+ Productions. And we want you to be part of the conversation, and the best place for that is by going over to the Facebook group and searching for A+ Productions. We have a hell of a showdown coming up this Tuesday as NXT takes on TNA, but that's just one show, because on the other side of the fence, we have AEW on their title Tuesday. AEW, TNA, NXT head-to-head this Tuesday. We also have a PLE in Australia to chat about. So much to chat about. So we're going to be taking a quick break, and on either side of the break, I'm going to bring in Hutch. We're going to chat this Tuesday, and then we are going to preview Crown Jewel. And then at the end of the show, we've got some mail from the listeners. And like I say, the best place to get a hold of us is by going to the Facebook group, facebook.com, and searching for A+ Productions. But we're going to be taking a quick break here on KPHR. And just remember, you're listening to A+ Wrestling.
Are you ready to embrace the dark side? Introducing the Bring Bad News to the Dark Side Season 7 Unisex Tee from the exclusive official Bad News Allen Canadian Collection. Now on sale at WrestlingSuperstars.shop. Don't be a spineless cockroach. Grab yours today before they're gone. Head to WrestlingSuperstars.shop now.
And we are back here on KPHR on this lovely Monday morning. And this week is one of those rare weeks, and it seems to be a yearly thing now, where AEW Dynamite goes head-to-head with NXT. And to talk to me about that and so much more is Hutch. Hutch, how's it going?
Going great, Boris. Once again, we are doing early Monday morning, so it's like new for us to be doing this.
Yeah. You know what? I don't mind it. I usually feel a lot more refreshed by Monday morning than I do on a regular time. But yeah, man, it's been crazy. But before we get to all of that, how are you doing, my friend?
Dude, I'm doing great. I went through my regular, red-blooded average Canadian man morning. I woke up, stood up on my bed, gave my dog a Bret Hart elbow off the bed, went into the kitchen, made a coffee, threw that coffee onto a picture of Eddie Guerrero I have in the hallway just for that particular occasion. And then, like everybody else, I walk into the living room singing the LA night theme, boom, doo, dee, boom, dee, boom, dee, boom, dee, and I pointed at all my family members and my dog and shit going, yeah, and then I go to work. Isn't that what most people do?
That's exactly what I do. I don't know. We have the
Yeah.
same morning routine. I don't know about anyone else. But yeah, man, this is one of those weeks, like I say, where AEW counter programs NXT. I am joking. Calm down, everyone. But it's, because of baseball playoffs and TBS and TNT, they have to move dates around. Having said that, at the same time all of this is going on, the Blue Jays are going to be facing the Yankees. So, I digress.
Yeah.
This Tuesday,
Hella day.
Exactly. This Tuesday, NXT TNA Showdown. I think that's the new name. They moved it from Invasion for many reasons, but Showdown, TNA, NXT. Hutch, before we started recording, you were actually telling me I don't really watch too much NXT. So is this something? So as someone who doesn't necessarily watch much NXT, does this show interest you at all?
Well, it's not that I haven't watched NXT. I just don't currently watch NXT. And, it does kind of interest me now. Because when you said the head-to-head, I was like, oh, yeah, the Invasion, which is now the Showdown. Yeah, I'm not, completely off the grid. It just hasn't got my interest lately. But I'm realizing now it's like a triple header, right? It's AEW versus NXT and TNA. So, this is pretty interesting. It's kind of weird. It's like something we would have always wanted, like an official an official TNA Invasion or Showdown or something, but it all seems so diluted. And I don't know why. When Ethan Page got onto NXT, I thought, okay, it'll bring me back around. 2.0 kind of lost me a bit. I could tell you what was going on, with all the early Von Wagner stuff, but then they lost me, and they seem to have lost him as well. I've noticed. I'm like, oh, hey, where's this Von Wagner guy? He's gone. But I guess it could pull me in. I don't know why it isn't. Obafemi's awesome. Javon Evans, all these guys are awesome. But is it that there's too much wrestling? I don't know. But the fact that this is like a big triple showdown, this is kind of interesting.
Yeah, exactly. It's a very interesting occasion, to say the least, right? I think one of the issues that I'm personally having, and I know that some people from our Facebook group is having, is the fact that Bound for Glory is coming up. It's right around the corner. It's literally right around the corner. They're WrestleMania. And while they're having their own stories, they're also trying to incorporate this major plot in the middle of the setup to their biggest story. So, for example, Trick Williams right now is all over the place. He's feuding with Mike Santana. He's feuding with people everywhere. It just seems that a lot of the attention is moving away from Bound for Glory on TNA's point of view. And then we saw this even a few weeks ago with NXT, right? Where we had a free match, one of the biggest matches that we possibly could have ever had with Trick Williams and Obafemi given away for free. And it was overshadowed by this Invasion angle. So I kind of feel like both shows are suffering a little bit because they're all over the place while trying to do their own thing. Meanwhile, they have this overshadowing story. It's kind of like, the past couple phases of the MCU where they're all over the place trying to tell individual stories, but there's this overshadowing story that's kind of a bit of a mess.
I was formulating in my head what I was going to say, but just at the end there, as you mentioned the MCU, the problem that we're having with the streaming bubble collapsing is, you've got, I guess I'll use myself just as an example. You've got a bunch of this wrestling content that you've been doing for a decade or more, and now you want to put it on a streaming service, and now it's all on there, and you realize you've got 5,000 hours of content, and that's really not that much in retrospect, and so now you are desperate to create content for your streaming service. So instead of the service being something you need for your content, now you need content for your service. The cart is before the horse. Now product is suffering. I want to say that the WWE NXT all the products everywhere are suffering. They're doing great, but it's like a child who's got 5 pixie sticks and he's eating all his pixie sticks. We're getting too much candy. You were saying we got Trick Williams and Obafemi, and now we've got an Invasion, and we've got AEW, and we've got all these shows, and Brock Lesnar's back, and we got the Crown Jewel, or the 2 champions are against each other, and they try to manufacture moments and hype, and then they give us too much of it. So even what they're giving us, which is obviously corporately created and force-fed to us, and we don't even have time to digest what happened before they're giving us more corporately created moments. It's everything seems so extra fake. It's extra worked. In an industry that's already fake, everything's starting to feel fake. Is that weird?
No, I know exactly what you mean, and that's one of the issues.
I should be hyped.
Yeah.
I should be TNA and NXT against each other and Obafemi and I should be hyped about the TNA champion taking on the NXT champion, except we know that there's no actual competition. Like, you're always learning as a promoter. You're always learning. It's such an individual beast, being a sport that is scripted and is entertainment and goes on forever. There's no seasons and there's new characters all the time. It's like a soap opera where people are getting old. Like, wrestling is such an individualistic entertainment entity, and you are always learning. As somebody that books and promotes, man, I'm always learning that was the wrong move, or this idea I have doesn't work because the audience will react this way, or that puts heat on the ref, I shouldn't do that. You're always micromanaging. And the people in charge of TNA now, like, no matter how much you try and tell me they're in this industry, they are green. I don't care how smart or how long they've been doing it. They are not names that have been doing this a long time, and WWE's taken advantage. I don't see any value in their titles anymore. They're like WWE titles, JCJ and Trick Williams. I mean, it's just putting it on all the NXT guys. It's very obvious that TNA is trying to do their thing, like you were saying, but when it comes to WWE, they are just like, they're not even the little brother. They just feel like they are fully under the thumb, and the TNA doesn't even matter. It's just fodder for them to do stuff.
So let me ask you this, right? At the start of this program, this partnership, a lot of people were praising the WWE side because, it was different than the AEW partnership and blah, 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 and good on TNA. TNA is looking strong, blah, blah, blah. There was a lot of praise and there was a lot of compare and contrast to the partnership that they had with AEW. But at the end of the day, I kind of feel like it's back to what it was with AEW, and TNA, they're benefiting literally from the fact that they're getting a, dare I say, the rub from WWE, but the end product and everything else is kind of just hurting. Like, business-wise, it might be helping. It might help them with their new TV deal and things like that, but I just find that, like, the actual in-ring product and stories is suffering.
Yeah, I haven't really given any of this much thought until right now, but as I'm sitting here thinking about it, I'm like, what would I have done in this situation? Granted, we all know that TNA is kind of like, TNA, God, they're like the Memphis of wrestling right now. They always have been, and all the different ownerships, and from NWA and Global Force, and they've got a messy history, but they have a long and storied history. And so if I was WWE, I wouldn't have pushed the title down so much. They seem to downgrade it to NXT and below, but this is a world title that has been around for almost 2 decades now, if not more. And some names, big names, have held this championship, from Foley and RVD, and I mean, we go on and on and on. Kurt Angle, they could have really given a little more rub to this title, and I feel like they do themselves a disservice with all the pomp and circumstance, and every time that somebody farts, they try and tell us, that was the most epic smell I've ever smelled. They've got opportunities to do it for real, and they shit on it. They've got this epic, if you're going to look at things the way WWE does through a rose-colored glasses, then you've got this epic championship, the TNA championship, decades-long storied history, but instead they kind of do the opposite. Sometimes I find WWE is so odd, and Triple H is such a slow burn guy. Vince really did capitalize on stuff. Granted, that same habit made him rip up scripts at the last minute and whatnot, but I feel like Triple H is the complete opposite. Instead of putting a guy on the world title on a guy within the first year and making him a big deal, he would have waited years to do that to Kurt Angle. He's a slow burn guy, and I'm not sure, dude, in this ADHD society right now, it was kind of cool at first, because Bloodline and things like that, we were like, oh, long-term booking, this is great, but in everything can't be long-term booking. Give me some candy here, man.
I agree with you 100%. However, the one thing that Triple H has done, at least, is people like a Jacob Fatu can get to the I guess middle to upper echelon quickly and give him a title. That's something that I feel Vince may not have done. That's just my personal opinion, but I do agree there are some people who they've probably should have done more with, and we are even seeing this in NXT, right? Like Javon Evans, for example, he seems to be appearing more on SmackDown, and which seems to be a thing that WWE right now is doing, where they're going to do a slow transition to the main roster as opposed to being promoted and you're full time in the main roster. Those are the reports that seem to be coming out. So people like Javon Evans, they're going to be appearing a little more here and there and whatnot.
Yeah, rosters, as far as I'm concerned, mean nothing. It's just a talking point and a way of shuffling guys around. And everybody works for the company, so they can do what they want. But as far as Jacob Fatu, they put the U.S. on Carlito right away. They put the Intercontinental on Santino right away. They do that with mid-card titles. It's when you do it with the top title that it matters. With the Kurt Angles, with the Vader showing up in New Japan and destroying Inoki, with the Brock Lesnar within 8 months of debuting, being the champ. Just winning King of the Ring and going right through. That's how you build huge stars. LA Knight has missed his opportunity. Remember when he walked out past Roman Reigns, interrupting his music, and like he didn't even exist, and walked to the ring? That's when he was hot. That's when they could have done stuff. I'm not saying take the title off Roman at that point. I'm just saying, I don't know, man. You were talking about who goes over. I got a lot of issues with who should and shouldn't go over coming up this weekend with Crown Jewel, But let's focus still here on NXT.
Yeah.
Why should I be watching this, Boris? You're into it. Tell me why.
It's good wrestling. It's fun stories. It's probably the best WWE product and the most consistent WWE product. That's how I feel about NXT. And this is someone who has watched NXT from the very beginning. I reviewed it on other channels. I even had to go through the 2.0 era reviewing those bad boys. Those were slog and difficult to watch. But just watching the evolution of NXT, it's still consistently, in my most humble opinion, the best WWE show from beginning to end. Having said that, the women's division is just eons ahead of the men's division, to the point where I'm a little nervous about the future of the men's division in WWE, because outside of Obafemi and Javon Evans, and I guess Ethan Page and Ricky Starks, but who knows what the plan is for those guys, I don't really see much else in NXT that I'm going to say, hey, yeah, this guy could be champ.
Yeah, that whole women's situation. There's so many of them. I can't even think straight with this product. They're showing up on NXT after they've been let go here. It's just the freaking names. I cannot keep track of these women. It's oh my god, it's Zahara Dynasty, and she was. Oh wait, who's this? It's TNA. Zahara Dynasty debuted at TNA. She used to be Joaquin Cantara NXT, but now she's here, and it's what the fuck? None of these names are real, and it's just weird name after weird name after weird name, like Fallon Henley. It sounds like you could take each of those names individually and they sound like a Canadian indie rock band. I'm going to see Fallon tonight, or we're going to see Henley tonight. It's just so many women, so many names, and I cannot keep track of any of it. And maybe that's why I should be embarrassed. I was watching NXT all the way back to when it was the game show days with the kids and the mentors and the Miz and Daniel Bryan and all that stuff, and I dropped it. NXT 2.0, maybe life got in the way, but I liked the whole colorful scheme and the change, so it's not like I was against it. But yeah, they lost me during that time period, and now when I tune in, it's just not that I don't like women's wrestling, but just so many women, and all of them with such ridiculous asinine names. It completely makes me turn off the show. I don't even care if what they're saying is interesting. They start talking to each other and they're dropping all the names, and I'm screw this, and I turn it off literally because their names are completely ridiculous.
I love that.
Is that it's true. I'm sorry, it's true.
No, but this is the whole point of the show. This is the whole point of the show. Give your opinions. Give your honest opinion.
It's they've once again made Vince. They made Vince a babyface when they were saying, "Oh, he used to price for families." Was Vince right that these people come up and they're like, "Hey, you got one name now, Riddle. Hey, you got one name now, freaking Langston. No more Langston, Big E." He was the one who was cutting people's names down. Maybe these chicks will start sounding like Canadian rock bands. Here comes Henley, or here comes Fallon. But still, bro, these names are completely insane. Zahara Dynasty, I made that shit up. Somebody in NXT is going to hear that and they're going to be "Oh, it's Zahara Dynasty. That's a fucking great name." Somebody's going to grab that name now. Give me a break.
I love it.
I should be making their names.
I know. I was going to say that. That would be a fun little game. It's rename the wrestler based on what we've seen on TV. That would be a fun little special.
Well, you know what? They do PLEs right. I got to tell you, maybe I've lost interest in the TV show, but NXT still always brings it with the PLEs. When I have tuned in, they've been extremely impressive. And when I haven't and I've heard reviews, people are like, "Yo, that show was awesome." So maybe you're right, Boris. Maybe I should start tuning in.
I think you should start tuning. I honestly think that you should start tuning in. But what you just said about PLEs, in my opinion, is a whole other issue with wrestling in general, right? WWE is one thing. WWE I've always viewed as you watch the PLEs, the pay-per-views, the specials, whatever, and you're good, right? There's enough fodder and extras in them that you can get caught up with what's happened over the past however many weeks since their last PLE or whatever. AEW, best TV week over week, but at the end of the day, pay-per-views are more than enough. 10 hours of wrestling, I am good. Is TV becoming a little more insignificant week to week?
Well, not for the wrestling companies. That's how they make all their goddamn money.
I agree with you, but I'm saying, like, as a fan, like, do you even need to watch the week to weeks?
I guess not. You got guys like you and me and guys that are better than us. Like, you got everybody reviewing these shows. Yeah, okay. You've got access to it after the fact. So, does the weekly time slot matter? I don't know. I can watch NXT Raw and stuff whenever I want. Even things, if I don't have ESPN or these things, I can be resourceful and find them. But is it insignificant? I don't know. If you got good recap packages and things like that, I want to give you a straightforward answer. But you could skip watching the TV and probably be okay, but could you skip not knowing anything that's going on? Like, you would have to get recap packages and things, or else because the whole, you get guys out there who say matches are matches, but if you don't have story, then there's no point. So if you don't know the story, then it's just a match, no matter how deep the story goes, if you haven't been paying attention. But wrestling has always been the best at these packages. We were talking last show about how WWE basically invented the modern recap and hype package. Like, they are the kings of that shit. AEW, please, little recap packages. Come on, guys. But you might be right. I think it's a pretty loaded statement. Is it necessary in the modern age? But you've planted a seed that could grow into a conversation that's worth having. Perhaps you're right.
That's what we're here for. That's what we're here for, planting seeds for larger conversations. But yeah, no, this is what I think about at night. When I can't sleep, I think, do I really need to watch Raw? Do I really need to watch SmackDown? Even though this past Friday SmackDown planted some seeds to some very, very interesting things.
Well, I mean, it is nice that they pepper in a little bit of wrestling into our 2 and 3 hour commercial chunks here. Cause that's basically what it is. A lot of commercials on the PLEs, a lot of commercials. You're paying for ESPN and then there's still commercials in it, even though you're paying. And they pepper in some matches, which is nice here and there. So maybe you don't have to watch it in real time. I mean, I haven't watched Raw live or SmackDown live in a long time. Sometimes I literally wait till it's over. I'm like, oh, it's 11 o'clock. I should go. And I go and I literally watch it in like, a single hour period and skip through all the freaking fodder. But modern age, I don't think WWE is going to be the same at all coming up over the next few years. These people are not fans of the product. And like I was saying earlier about the learning the beast of being a promoter, as far as the winners and losers, they're not looking at booking strategies. They're looking at moments now. If you think Cornette was frustrated before, like, he'd be frustrated now, because I don't think there's any manipulative booking logic in anything. Like, I feel like now, if you were to say, they're like, hey, well, we'll end it this way, and you turn to a guy and say, hey, that just puts the heat on the ref, and they'd be like, what are you talking about? Like, I feel like there's no old school mentality anymore. They're just looking for the moments. So I think this whole beast is going to be really weird in the future.
I agree with you 1,000,000% on this. WWE right now has gone to the point where they literally book on, like, their entire aura is based off of one of two things: social media moments or nostalgia moments, which then turn into social media moments.
Yeah, like everything coming up this weekend, I feel like every I want to say every match is bad. Every winner is bad. Every possibility of who could win and lose, almost every match from SmackDown all the way till Monday. Some of these aren't officially announced, but I think we all know what matches might be coming up. There are no positives to almost any of these winners or losers. And I feel like WWE is just like, how did they get their head so up their ass? But I mean, are we allowed to talk about this? Are we done? Are we done pushing NXT?
We're going to switch over to the Crown Jewel preview very soon. I just want to wrap a nice little bow into this head-to-head AEW NXT.
I was going to say,
head to head.
let's put the bow should be AEW. Let's talk about what is AEW. Have they announced any matches? What are they doing to combat this invasion, this showdown?
Of course, AEW, they have to be able to have some surprises. They are going up against NXT. They know what they're going up against. They know they're going up against this showdown invasion angle. So let us see what is going on this week on AEW. So Jurassic Express, they're in action for the first time since 2022. Cool. We have Pac versus Orange Cassidy. That match should be very fun. We have for the TNT Championship, we have Kyle Fletcher versus Kyle O'Reilly. The Kyle versus the Kyle, there can only be one. We also have Mercedes Moné taking on a wrestler from Florida in a TBS Championship Open Challenge. We have Jon Moxley versus Tomohiro Ishii. We have a street fight with the Hurt Syndicate versus The Demand. And we have a double Jeopardy elimination match, Brodito versus Okada and Takeshita.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I remember I was kind of looking forward to that. We'll see. That's going to be an interesting match. See, and like, we all expect so much from AEW, but sometimes I like to look at it as like, what if this was 2015 and this was an ROH used to tour, right? And the shows would always be really cool. Sometimes you'd get a guy who obviously was not going to be champion, taking on the champion, and you didn't care. You'd be like, oh, dude, Generico's taking on, whoever. Like, oh, that's going to be a hell of a match. And you're not surprised when Samoa Joe's still champ at the end, but you're like, yo, that Generico Samoa Joe match was insane. I feel like if you look at AEW that way, that it's just like, oh, look, they're touring, and wow, look at this freaking card they have coming. This is going to be a hell of a freaking card. But we expect so much more of them as like a TV corporate product, and like they made so many grandiose statements about realism and being when they first started that we hold them to a higher standard. But if this was like a touring wrestling show and they weren't like a major TV company, dude, this would be off the hook show coming to town. So hey, good on them.
Yeah. Anything that I said, really, really, really getting you excited for the show. Because for me, honestly, the Brodito Okada Takeshita match has the makings of something special. Having said that, Takeshita, you have a big match in Japan this weekend. Take care of yourself.
Yo. That guy is burning the candle at both ends. I'm hoping he doesn't become like, I look at him and he gives me my like the Takayama vibes. Yes. And I'm hoping he's not the kind of guy that in the future, 25 years from now, is like paralyzed and like, oh, I had a good career. And you're like, dude, you're like 45 and you can't walk. Like, it's like, I hope he's good. But yes, I absolutely adore Takeshita, like moving like way up. Like, I guess if I really pulled back the layers, like he could be that guy where I don't miss any of the matches, where I love him so much. Like, I'm embarrassed to say it now. There was a period of time where there's certain wrestlers where I was really into them. Like, there was a Michael Elgin period of time where I would go search if he was on a promotion where I'd go search out that match. Like, I had my Elgin period and I had my other periods of times with people. So I think I might be in my Takeshita period of time right now. I'm excited for Monet. She's coming up here to Canada, taking on Jody Threat on Jody's birthday, I think within the next 10 days or so, in Winnipeg for the Winnipeg Women's Championship. So it's going to be Monet 10 belts. I'm sorry, Jody. I'm pretty sure she's going to go home with that title. Jody likes to drink a lot. She's a bar gal, so I bet she'll be drinking the night before her birthday, and I'm sure Monet is gonna take that title, although Jody certainly has the ability. Here I am. It's like, it's okay. I'm like putting her over. Like, of course.
Oh, yeah, right? I love it. The promoter takes over sometimes. I love it.
Yeah, but that'll be great. That'll be great. So Monet 10 belts will be coming up, and AEW take it on. They're trying to rise to the occasion. You know what I mean? So many people have opinions, like negative opinions of AEW, but they're doing a pretty damn good job. Give me a break. They do their thing.
Right now, and here's the thing. We've talked about this in the past. AEW right now is doing the best thing for themselves, and that is focusing on their own product. And I'm loving that so much about them. Hutch, let's jump over quickly to the NXT side of the house, because we actually I'm just going to run down the card real quick, and if anything jumps at you like, oh, I want to watch this, let me know. So we have Team TNA, Mike Santana, Frankie Kazarian, Moose, and Leon Slater versus Team NXT of Ricky Saints, Trick Williams, Javon Evans, and Miles Bourne in a Survivor Series style elimination match, and it was announced on Sunday evening that Joe Hendry will be the guest referee.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing Joe Henry.
Yeah. And on the women's side, we have Team NXT, JC Jane, Jada Parker, Sol Ruka, and Lola Vice versus Team TNA's Kalani Jordan, Casey Lee, Jessica McKay, Marisade in a Survivor Series style elimination match with Jordan Grace as a special guest referee.
Yeah, like I was saying, like when it comes to these women right now, it's all just like a big blur to me.
Yeah.
They're just, it's,
Now,
I
the
don't know what
next
to
two
say.
matches.
It's going to be a match.
The next two
You know,
matches
Jordan
are
Grace,
two-
she sticks out, right? Jordan Grace sticks out. So there you go. Once against like the special guest referees in both matches are the people I want to see. I'm like, yeah.
All right. The next two matches will be very interesting. This next match I'm really looking forward to, could steal the show, and that is for the NXT North American Championship, Ethan Page versus Mustafa Ali.
Yeah, man, that's going to be fun. I'm a big fan of Ethan Page. I'm hoping that it happens for him. He deserves it. Yeah, I like Mustafa Ali's in-ring work. This is going to be a good match. I hope Ethan goes over. I hope. I don't think we need to see Ali back in WWE right now. He's doing good things over there. So yeah, it should be a fun match. They're certainly going to put on a hell of a show, and I'm sure that Ali's probably liking getting back on a different network.
Yeah, here's the funny part. This is a funny match. I called this match weeks ago on the Poison Rana pod with Braden. I was almost laughed at a little bit, but it's happening, and I do think we are going to get new NXT Tag Team Champions. So, this is the match. The Tag Team Champions, Dark State, Dion Lennox and Osiris Griffin in a winner-take-all match against the TNA Tag Team Champions of Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy.
Yeah, like if I was WWE, I'd be putting those titles on the Hardys. You could say that it's not WWE constantly winning and taking all the TNA titles. And also, you know, give the Hardys their last little bit here. They'll certainly sell tickets. They're doing their thing. And then I guess, are they going to go into Bound for Glory against the Dudleys, like with both titles around their waists? Like, it's pretty good stuff.
It. In a table match at Bound for Glory, we're gonna have the Dudleys, Team 3D, taking on the Hardys.
Dude, that's freaking awesome. It'll be nice to see one last time, and they come in with both the belts. I mean, the Hardys did something nobody has ever done before. Within a calendar month, they held the TNA titles, the ROH titles, and the WWE Raw Tag Team titles. There was even some overlap there. And, I mean, nobody has done that shit. And if it wasn't for Jeff and his little issues there, they would have definitely had the AEW titles. So, hey, and they've never been NXT tag champs, right? So just throw another accolade on there for them. There's no way that I think, who are they taking on again? And I mean that as a joke. Like, who? Yeah, so come on. It's the Hardys.
Yep, there we go. That is Tuesday evening NXT, AEW, TNA, all on our TV. Also, the Blue Jays and the Yankees. All right, Hutch, we're going to be taking a quick break here on KPHR. And on the other side of the break, we are going to be previewing WWE's Crown Jewel. And, well, we're going to hit the mailbag and get some listener feedback all here on KPHR. And you are listening to A+ Wrestling.
This is Joseph Vendetti from Barbarian Bar Fitness, your source for Canadian-made functional fitness equipment built for the grind. Pro wrestling doesn't take an off-season. It's 52 weeks of punishing work in and out of the ring. That's why we designed versatile, battle-tested gear to help you train harder, recover smarter, and stay ready for the spotlight. Our mission? To empower wrestlers, coaches, and athletes with equipment that elevates your performance and amplifies your impact. Visit barbarianbarfitness.com and unleash your potential.
And we are back here on KPHR, and you are listening to A+ Wrestling. I am here with Hutch. I'm Boris, by the way. And we have a PLE this Saturday morning if you live in the East Coast of the USA or Canada. It is at 8:30 a.m. start. They are all the way in Australia, Crown Jewel, Perth. Actually, they're there all weekend, so all Friday, Saturday, and Monday, 8:30 a.m. shows. If we record next Monday on Thanksgiving, Hutch, we will be able to watch live or Raw Live as we're recording.
Oh my God, is Monday Night Raw a Thanksgiving spectacular? Like, my God, I love how WCW always used to do the holidays back in the day. They were like big draws in the territory days. But hey, a Thanksgiving show, pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's Canadian Thanksgiving. All right, let us run through the matches. And then there's only 4 announced matches. I can see another match or 2 being added to this card, but we'll run through.
I was going to say, you're getting ahead of yourself, man. You were saying it's an entire weekend here in Perth. Dude, SmackDown has like a huge... They've got 2 tag team title matches, they've got 2 title matches going on. They've got Sami Zayn. He's got his open challenge. You've got the Wyatts taking on the Profits, and then they've got the last man standing match. So, like, they're trying to present SmackDown as something big. They keep in the PLE to, like, the 5 match, the lower match count, thing that they've been doing lately. So I'm pretty sure that SmackDown, they're going to try push it as a big deal. You don't think this is, it's not bad. I think all of these matches, or at least 1 or 2 of them, could have been on the PLE.
Yeah, well, that's the point. Like, and this is something that I've been noticing. You bring up a great point, and that is because SmackDown happens typically the night before the PLE. I've noticed over the past several months where SmackDown has like a championship or 2, a match that you think would happen on the PLE. So I kind of see SmackDown as kind of like a, the preview show or a PLE plus or something along those lines, because it's true. You hit the nail on the head when you say that, right? And if we're having these 4 or 5 match PLEs, I've noticed that SmackDown has been trying to put a little something on their show.
Well, yeah, Sami Zayn is going to have the open challenge. I'm pretty sure if I was Booker, it'd be Grayson Waller coming out with the New Day guys to back him up. All kinds of shenanigans. The crowd's going to go nuts. Might even get some support, but Sami can still go over without anybody looking bad. The Wyatts and the Profits, if you want to really, it's about time we do something with the Profits. Don't tell me we've been teasing all this stuff for so long to do nothing with it. So... I think the Wyatts need to go over. I think the Profits need to break up. I think the Wyatts really, it could be like a mind screw thing. Like the Wyatts, if they really want to be this dark, brooding entity, they could claim that they're the reason why the Profits were breaking up. That they've been like, screwing with them backstage or with their minds. And maybe we'll finally get this power couple of Bianca Belair and Montez Ford. Although I think Dawkins could be a really good baby face. Ford would probably be a better heel, especially if she went heel. But, they've still got DIY and Fraxium to go after the Wyatts, so I think there's some legs to the Wyatts still having the title, and if you take it off them, you're certainly killing them, and no reason the Profits should have the titles if they're going to be teasing this breakup in any fashion. So I think that's a decent match that they could give some time to and put some drama behind. And then you've got the match that should have probably been on the PLE if ESPN wants to not give C ratings to all this kind of stuff. I mean, Priest and Black in this last man standing match on a PLE would have had no commercials. They probably would have been able to go harder, be a little more brutal than they would on SmackDown. But, at least it's giving it a big main event for SmackDown, because, I think those other 2 matches I mentioned are fun matches, but they're not main event material. So, SmackDown, they're trying to make it a big deal. But I think the main problem, like I was saying earlier with this entire weekend, is there is no upside to any winners here. Priest, what is the upside to Priest winning? It just makes Black look like shit. Black needs to win this match, in my opinion, because what are they going to do with him after? He could have some great matches with Cody, a little win like this, and maybe challenge Cody off to the side or something. Maybe Cody get his confidence back after hopefully losing tonight. But this match is ambiguous and weird, but from here, I think Black should win. But from here, I have a problem with a lot of the matches that have been put together for this entire PLE.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's weird. The booking has been very weird in WWE. Like, I've been questioning it a lot more and more and more, and it is taking me a little bit away. But, it's wrestling. I'm going to watch wrestling. For me, wrestling, sometimes it's like pizza. So let us run through Crown Jewel. We have Rhea Ripley and Io Sky versus the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane.
You'll just eat any pizza? You're like, it's like pizza. I'll just eat any pizza.
I'll eat any pizza.
You're like, I'll eat any pizza. Okay,
hot,
cool.
Cold, lukewarm, pineapple, anchovies.
Pineapple on pizza? All right, good.
Give it to me.
I'm a pineapple on pizza guy. I got to tell you, the sweet and savory and like the hot and spicy and the sweet, I love it. So you were talking about Kabuki against Rhea and Io. Here's our first problem with the every win is bad. Rhea, in her home country, you're going to want to put her over. But you shouldn't put her over. As a massive corporate entity now that is no longer logical wrestling bookers in any fashion, do not be surprised if they just shit on the Kabuki Warriors and put Rhea over for the big pop and for all the freaking stuff. But the smart booking angle is to put the Kabuki Warriors over. You've just put them back together. They've just turned heel. You want to give them credibility. They could certainly take that tag title from Charlotte and Alexa and have a good run with it. The conflict between Io and the Warriors, let's just say it's a huge match. Everybody's behind Rhea, hot tag. She's running wild. Everybody's feeding her. Bump. But somehow Io costs her the match. So now she's mad at Io and the fans are booing her and the Kabuki Warriors are there and they're like, see, we told you. Look, and she's like, it wasn't my fault. I didn't mean it. I'm sorry, Rhea. And then she's like, no, F you, Io. You screwed me over. And she's like, oh, now she's conflicted. And the Kabuki Warriors are there saying, come, screw her. And she's leaving with the Kabuki Warriors while kind of like forlornly looking over her shoulder at Io, like, I was trying, you like, screw you, bitch, I didn't mean it, like she's conflicted. And now that is a massive storyline leading into them continuing their program because they don't need to have a title for that match to be a draw. If you put a ton of drama into it, you can get the rest of the year out of these two until they, and then they're in the ring at Royal Rumble staring at each other after everybody else is down or been eliminated. I mean, you've got a lot to work with here if you don't just put Rhea over because of the fan reaction, in my opinion.
I agree 100% with you on this. And this is my issue with this match, right? It is, like you said, now we in terms of the booking, who are they booking for? They're booking for the monies. They're booking for the corporate gods. They're booking for TKO at this point, which is movements.
This gives you an opportunity.
Clicks.
This gives you an opportunity if you go with the booking that I was just saying, the conflicted Io leaving with the Kabukis. Now she's in the War Game match on the heel side, and she's conflicted throughout that as well. And then, however you want to book the ending, whether she's a part of that or whatever. But, that beefs up the heel side, but also has some drama where she's like, Io's conflicted, and like, oh no, she actually jumped on the Kabuki Warriors instead. Like she betrays them, and then the baby faces win or whatever. She's on top of the cage, like who's she going to jump on? Instead, she jumps the way you're not expecting her to. Or whatever, there's a lot there they can do with this, and I really think I get the corporate smell of Rhea over to get the pop and to get the footage, and I think it's just wrong.
Yep, agree with you. Let them know. A Facebook group, facebook.com, search for A Plus Productions. Let's see what you think. All right, the next match, John Cena versus AJ Styles.
Dude, give us the hits. They're not going to be doing their best work they've ever done, but it's probably going to be the most solid match of the night. Are you looking forward to this?
I am. I think this is going to be an excellent match. I think that, like you said, if they give us the hits, it's going to be fine. I think that both AJ Styles and John Cena want to put on a show. We know John Cena's final match is coming up. AJ Styles is coming up sooner than we think. So this is a big match for the two of them. And they've had bangers in the past. So I'm expecting this to steal the show.
Yeah, and AJ's kind of in limbo now, working with Mysterio and Dragon Lee and stuff. And so it'd be nice for Cena just to go over here. But, we're all talking about Cena's retirement tour. Who's going to be his last opponent? Only a couple of showings left. Who's going to be AJ's last opponent? I mean, the 26 is going to be his last year for, going into Mania. They've got a great opportunity after this. This is like a one-off thing, but for 2026, the final AJ Styles run, like who's going to be the guy that feuds with him and makes that last match worth watching, and a victory for AJ to finally go over, or in his last match after he's been beaten down, whatever storyline they want to do. I shouldn't be making up the storyline, but from here, who is AJ Styles' final opponent and final feud? And are they going to put some stank on it, or are they going to treat it like Kurt Angle or like John Cena? Are they going to drop the ball with AJ as well, I guess is what I'm saying. And who do you think should be AJ's last opponent?
Bro, I haven't even put any thought into it, to be 100% honest. But look, the track record, the batting average for WWE right now with retirement tours is not too high. So I'm not sure what to expect with AJ Styles, to be 100% honest. Like, I honestly, I would just give him, I wouldn't even really promote it as a retirement tour. Just give him matches that he wants and let the fans decide. But I think one of the things that's really hurt Kurt Angle and John Cena's retirement tour is the fact that they've tried to market it as is.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, you lose all. AJ's already been talking about this could be his last year. It'd be great if they don't talk about it at all, and then it's one of the younger guys who are like, you know what? No, you don't deserve to get in the ring with me. You haven't had a title in like what 6-7 years. He's like, I've only been here for 6-7 months. I've already got this IC title. You know what? You want to take on me? I want your career, and like it's a career match out of nowhere, and it's like, oh, that gives him pause. Like, what? You're so positive you want my title? You don't want to put your career on the line? It's like, no, you know what? I will. Like, goad him into it, and then it's like you can see on his face he's not sure if he made the right decision, and now you're going into WrestleMania or whatever, and it's like AJ Styles career on the line, and you're just like, it'd be great if guys you make it feel like they got kind of sideswiped, like the way that they talk about how MJF got manipulated into giving up his contract thing. Sure, he ended up trying to burn freaking Briscoe, and he got his way in the end round, but it was Hangman who goaded him into saying, okay, fine, I don't need my contract, or I'll do my contract or whatever. Like they should do that with AJ, where he is goaded into a retirement match, and if he loses, he's screwed, because we don't want to see him retire, but we all know that secretly he's planning on it. Right?
Along the same lines, give him the IC title, and he says, when I lose a title, I retire. One of those deals. I know we've seen that in the past.
Yeah, that's a good deal as well. I'm trying to think of something different, but either way they go, retirement tour, title thing, or any kind of retirement match. I think 2026, I really hope that they give AJ his due, his flowers, do him justice, because, man, he's awesome. And this Cena-AJ match will probably be pretty awesome.
Yep. All right. We have Stephanie McCare versus Tiffany Stratton for the Women's Crown Jewel Championship, whatever that means.
Yeah, and, okay, what is this event, man? Like, was last Crown Jewel, was that the first Crown Jewel, or was there that show?
It was not the first one, but it was held in Saudi Arabia, and they decided to pit the champions against each other just to give them a belt to be celebrated.
Yeah, no, I know all that. What I mean is, like, there was Crown Jewel events before that, right? That name,
yes,
there's
absolutely.
like a half a dozen. Okay, cool. So then it's always been a Saudi event, right?
Yes.
So this whole thing, I don't know if it's because of Mania and Rumble and whatever, why it's in Australia, but it would have been nice to skip this. I feel like this title, this like ultimate, whatever bloody title it is when the two champions go against each other, the green thing. I mean, this is a Saudi title. They weren't even allowed to leave with the belt last year, the two of them, freaking Cody and, oh my God, and Liv. And they weren't even allowed to leave last year, Cody and Liv, with the title belts. Had to stay in Saudi. So, like, what's going on here with this event? Like, it would have been nice if they do something like with the Olympics. Like, maybe Crown Jewel is every 4 years or something. Like FIFA Cup. Like, we don't need a yearly champion against champion event. This entire event stinks of what I was talking about before. Corporate pandering. This is what the Saudis wanted, to be able to say, well, the ultimate champion gets crowned here every year, and blah, blah, blah. This is awful for everyone involved. Nobody needs this to happen. Especially on a yearly basis. And why is it happening now in Australia if this is like a Saudi pushed thing? Like, are they really this cucked by the Saudis that now they have to follow orders even outside the country?
Right.
I all of it gives me a bad taste in my mouth, especially Steph against Tiffany here. Like, this whole thing, all of this title versus title stuff, there is no point. Valkyrie just got the championship. So are you going to have her lose? You probably shouldn't have her lose because she just won her championship. I guess Tiffy could lose because she's only really fought 2 people all year, but she's been a champion for 9 months, like a whole year now, basically. Her reign has kind of sucked, but you don't want to just beat her because of that, because now you're making her look like shit. Really, I guess they should have her turn heel, because she's much better as a smarmy heel. She should turn heel here and like beat Valkyrie with like the smarmiest, shittiest heel tactics, so that Valkyrie looks strong still, can be shocked. Everybody loves her. The fact that there's the language barrier means she doesn't embarrass herself when she talks by saying stupid things or these long scripted promos. She just gets right to the point and is usually rather like eloquent in her way. So she can survive this, but all of it is unnecessary. Like, having to book around who should win, and like, what were they gonna, now if Steph wins, she's got 2 brand new titles out of nowhere. Like, all of it is completely unnecessary, and it stinks of corporate involvement, because any tenured and experienced booker would know that this is a bullshit thing to do, especially on a yearly basis. All it does is damage everybody involved.
And then we have Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins.
I'm sorry. Same thing with Rhea and Kabuki Warriors. Whoever wins that match, the loser, it's not good for them. And in this match, the loser, it's not good for them. This next one maybe is the only one where it's good. It is still unnecessary, and it still is something we're having to jump through hoops to make it make sense and make it okay. But it would be way more okay if it just wasn't bloody happening. But Seth really needs to go over here, and I'm glad that they kind of built it up on Monday. Like they made, I've lost to you 3 times. And obviously Seth needs to go over. And I'm glad that they've picked up the history of them teaming up together after Seth, losing to him 3 times in a row and all this stuff. He needs to go over to make himself look strong, or else the Vision's going to look like shit. He's going to look like shit. And Cody can definitely bounce back from this.
Yeah, there we go. All right, that is WWE Crown Jewel. Hutch, before we go, we're dipping into the listener feedback, the mailbag, and he's still live here on KPHR. So let us go to this. Scott Ainsworth said, in the vein of what we've just been talking about, why are the WWE messing with most of Australia for the shows coming up with the times that they are airing? Yeah, the times are very weird for the Australians, to say the least. It's a bit of a weird start time, to say the least. It's a little later than usual for them. But I'm assuming it's just they just got to accommodate so many time zones at this point.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't have a problem with it. It gives it an international flair, like when you get your boxing matches in the afternoon from Saudi Arabia. Bloody hell. Speaking of that, I don't mind. I don't mind the boxing happening in Saudi Arabia because they have the money to make things happen that wouldn't happen otherwise. There's guys who would never fight each other and promotions that won't work together, and the Saudis throw money at it and they make dream matches happen. WWE, everybody's on contract. There's no dream matches that can't happen in a goddamn backyard if you decide you want it to be that way. So that's why there's even more connected to the whole Saudi connection. But continue.
Yeah, Scott Ainsworth is from Australia, so I feel he's one that can actually complain about this. So Justin Doss says this one's directed to you, Hutch. I like the co-host.
Is that a question? Or
no, that was a statement. Thank you. That was a statement.
Thank you. There are days that I am kind of partial to myself as well, but they're few and far between.
I love it. All right, Blaine, thank you as always. This is what he had to say. I found this week's NXT to be very entertaining, but illogical at the same time. The men's match looks decent, but why no Oba? Even if he's being called up, the guy dominated the brand for a full year. He can't do one more match in NXT. And Kalani capturing the women's team, captaining the women's team makes no sense either. Outside of last weekend's pay-per-view, she hasn't wrestled at all for TNA. Why would they even trust her? Jakara Jackson, or whatever her name she goes by now, is another one who's been in TNA for a cup of coffee, and literally no one thinks of her when associating with the letters TNA. It's understandable why.
You're darn right.
Yeah. It's understandable why Masha isn't on the team, but for God's sake, if you're not gonna use Tessa Blanchard, then just fire her. If they were so concerned about the controversy surrounding her, why did they bring her back in the first place? Speaking in kayfabe terms, this is a woman who literally won the women's world title. Why wouldn't you want someone like that on your team? Also, Mustafa is a babyface when it's convenient, but still a heel in TNA, just like Finn Balor was a babyface last week and back to being a heel this week. I am kind of interested to see where Jordan Grace and Joe Hendry fit in. Maybe we'll end up getting a third team of Outcasts. Well, that's been answered already. As far as the TNA women's team, I hope we get a 97 uncensored scenario when Piper just replaced his entire team the day of the show. That team looks awful.
So it's like things are kind of confusing and weird, and let's lean into it. Let's bring Vince Russo in here. Let's go full WCW 2001. Woo! Just replace the whole team at the last minute. Hey, whatever. All of this is crazy. Like you were saying, like Kalani, you're like, can we trust Kalani Jordan to be the leader of the team? No, you can't trust anybody whose parents names them Kalani. Obviously, she has a ridiculous upbringing, and her parents are morons or hippies or something. Like, what is going on? These people, and she's decided for a living. She wants to be beat up for a living. These are not normal people. They can't be trusted with anything.
I love that so freaking much. All right, here we have some questions from Joe Aguinaldo, the former host at another network that we used to do stuff in. I used to do stuff in. This is what he says. In no particular order, potential Hall of Fame inductees and your thoughts on Steph being inducted.
I feel like they did it early because they wanted something to announce at WrestlePalooza. Like, I feel they made some changes at the last minute, but they promised some surprises, so that was one of them. But yeah, Steph, I think they're going to get rid of Triple H and Steph sooner than later. within 5 years at the most. I don't think either of them are going to be involved anymore. So yeah, get him in the Hall of Fame. Could even be 2 years. Like, think about it. Like, I don't. This is a completely different beast, and they are not as entrenched as they were before. Every day, I feel like they get more and more pushed to the outside.
They're literally just employees at this point.
Yeah.
Right? It's a different thing. And I think that's the reason why they got Triple H and Steph into the Hall of Fame when they did. Because I feel like they have 1 foot out the door, and the powers that be at TKO are just waiting to pull the trigger at this point. I don't know when. I think, like you said, it'll be sooner rather than later, but that's kind of where we're at right now. Like, remember, it is a different beast at this point. It is not Granddaddy's WWE anymore.
No, and they live in this bubble. Maybe to Steph, maybe this is a big deal. I mean, like, I know they tell us it's a big deal. And maybe it actually is in her world. I mean, when you live in these bubbles, I work in film outside of wrestling, and some people really live in a bubble. So maybe to her, she's like, oh my God, it's the greatest thing ever.
Well, Hutch, didn't she invent women's wrestling?
Yeah, totally. And her brother's the greatest of all time. Or what is he? He's certainly up there. He won that trophy.
Yeah, exactly. All right. We have, another question from Joe Aguinaldo. Thoughts on Andrade back in AEW?
I don't know. Probably the best thing for him. Obviously, he's talked with Tony. They've smoothed it out. They've got something going on. I don't know who Kenny is actually feuding with, but it looks like Andrade is going to be one of them. And CMML is a great place for him, and so is New Japan. I mean, we're talking, this guy's a former Intercontinental Champion as La Sombra. He's got a lot of history here. So, for me, the common denominator is Andrade and all this stuff. Like, is he a Drew McIntyre? Is he a Suffering Builds character? Everybody's screwing me. Is he one of those guys?
Right.
I did that short last week. That's literally like right out of my short from last week. But yeah, I don't know. I'm hyped. Hopefully they do him right, because dude, he's awesome in the ring, especially when he's allowed to like let loose. I think AEW he'll do a lot more moves. It'll be a lot more hard hitting. But yeah, I don't know what's going on with this guy, but I'm glad to see him. One thing that confused me is people didn't know who it was. They were like, for a few moments, people were like, who's this? Because nobody was expecting it to be Andrade, except it's freaking Andrade. He's dressed like he's wearing Andrade's mask. And there were so many people online who were like, whoa, he unmasked. I was so surprised. Nobody was expecting him to show up back at AEW. I'm like, yes, I was surprised. I was shocked. Except the moment I saw him, I was like, oh, look, it's Andrade. Oh my God. And then he took off his mask and it was him. But I feel like some people didn't know until he took the mask off. I'm like, are you people crazy? He's wearing his own mask. Right. Anyways.
Yes. I agree with you 100%. Like, it was one of those things as well. Like, as soon as I saw him, I'm like, oh, look, Andrade's back. So I was surprised to see Andrade, but I wasn't surprised to see that it was Andrade. Like, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Anyways, Good for him. We'll see what happens. You never know. Yeah. Watch him be gone in like a month.
That's exactly it. Like, the unfortunate part with Andrade, it seems like he's his own worst enemy anywhere he goes, right? So hopefully he has a better run this time. Hopefully he can stay out of trouble. Hopefully he can keep clean and not let the Latino temperament take over.
Yo, does Roosh seem like a stable human being to you?
God, no.
No, okay. And so this is the original Los Ingobernables, is these guys. And like Kenny K, so these guys, they were a big deal. They know their worth. And when they get to, as far as I'm concerned, like Dralistico and Roosh, and freaking Andrade, dude, these three guys together, that's your fucking team. You don't need them to speak English. You just need them to kick the fucking shit out of people. Get what's the guy with the gloves who used to come out with the Lucha Brothers all the time? Freaking meh. Not Jose the Assassin, but the other guy.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Dude, have him come out, or have some other annoying freaking guy come out. Like they give him a mouthpiece or something, But dude, these guys, you don't fuck with these guys. That's your trios champions right there.
With Heyman doing the intro for Brock at WrestlePalooza, do you think they're potentially setting up a Brock versus Seth program?
Maybe. I mean, I was kind of fantasy booking. What do you do with War Games? Imagine Brock coming in on the Vision team. He's the last guy who comes in. They're announcing it beforehand. Even Seth's like, Paul, I need you to do me a favor. You're like, what? They're like, I need you to get, bro. I'm like, oh, Seth, I don't know. You know, like, come on, Paul. We need him, you know? That would put their team over the top. I don't know if they're going to have Drew on that team, but I don't know if they're leading towards that. I don't know if I'd want to see that.
I personally don't want to see it. We've seen enough in 2019. No point to redo it in 2026.
It's kind of heel versus heel, right?
Yeah.
Right now, at least.
At least for now.
So.
Absolutely. But, you know, again, with WWE's booking, you just never know. And the last question from Joe Aguinaldo is the one that everyone has been wanting to hear. Why are you guys such sexy beasts?
Oh, really? Was that an actual question?
No, I'm literally reading this. You can look at it on the Facebook group, facebook.com, A+ Productions.
Wonderful. You know, that is the never-ending question. I have often asked many people, I'm like, why is Boris such a sexy beast? And then they're like, hey, you're one to talk. And I'm like, oh, please. And I blush. And then I'm like, yes, but it's constant. So thank you. You are one of many who asked the question, to the point that now I just roll my eyes. I'm like, yeah. Sexy beast. Thanks.
I love it. Thank you so much for all of the feedback and questions. You can be part of the conversation by going to facebook.com and searching up A+ Productions. Hutch, it has been quite the episode. Tons of opinions. We'll be back eventually to talk some more here on KPHR. Hutch, where can we find all your work?
At Hutch Henry's, just check me out online. You'll find me on all of the social media platforms. You'll probably find me there talking in the next day or so. I got a couple of opinions about Jacob Fatu against Drew McIntyre. Hopefully we'll see that on Monday. In fact, Boris, if you want to join me Tuesday, I'll be talking about that. Maybe you can give me your opinion on that. But at Hutch Henry's on all your socials, and of course at Demand Lucha. Please check out my wrestling promotion out of Toronto here. And we got PCO versus Microman in a coffin match on the night before Halloween on Devil's Night. So you should definitely check us out if you're in town. That's going to be fun.
That's going to be amazing. All right. APlusProductions.com is where you can get all the information on all of our shows. And if please just hit that subscribe button. And the best way to do that is by going to your favorite podcasting app and searching for A+ Productions. But if you really just want to listen to the wrestling shows, you can search for A+ Wrestling. Like I mentioned, hit that subscribe, leave a review. We are here on KPHR. We are A+ Wrestling. On behalf of the entire crew, thank you so much for listening. But most importantly, stay tranquilo.